Hey, good afternoon, guys. How are you? I'm so excited for today. I've been waiting for ever since Funnel Hacking Live to start this training, so I'm super excited. I'm gonna just wait like 1 or 2 minutes for some people to pop on, make sure everybody's here, make sure everyone can hear me, and then we're just gonna dive right in. We have so much stuff to go over, which is awesome. You guys really brought the questions this week. I got some funnel audibles, all that kind of stuff. So let me just make sure that this is live in the group. There it is. Okay, I see it. All right, so if I keep looking this way at any point, it's because I've got my laptop open so that I can follow the comments on the live stream if you guys get lost or confused or anything. So, all right, let me share my screen with you. Just give me 1 second to pull that up here. Screen. Awesome. All right, so this is how my weekly training is going to go. Hey, hi guys. So this is how my training is going to go. Each week, I'm going to do some sort of like little micro training on something related to funnels. I know a lot of you guys, I stalk the group, I watch the questions, I see what kind of themes and threads are going on. So I will discuss something that I think the group needs based on chatter. I don't want to rehash Funnel Builder Secrets because it's there and you can watch it. So I want to try to use this time for things that maybe I can cover in a little bit of a different way that's more helpful. So I'm going to do 3 things today. I want to just talk a little bit more about the difference between the presentation and the unboxing funnel, because I know a lot of you are like, hey, what kind of funnel should I do? I want to talk a little bit about pre-selling, because I know that was a big thing. Like, how do I test and validate my offer if it's not built yet? And then also there's a bunch of you asking about the kind of like the logistics of a weekly live webinar. So I want to cover those 3 things. Then I'm going to do 4 audibles. Mom's Gone Strong, Jonathan, Brooke, and Lee. And then I have a whole gaggle of questions you guys asked. So I'm going to go through that Q&A. If you guys get stuck or you have any like questions that don't make sense or you don't understand, please put them in the chat. All right, before I forget, let me hit record. All right, so this is recording now. Awesome. Hello. All right, hopefully I can follow the comments and the training at the same time. It's a pretty busy group, which is awesome. All right, so I want to start by talking about the difference between the presentation funnel versus the unboxing funnel. And I introduced this at 12-month millionaire presentation in Funnel Hacking Live, where I talked about the 2 different types of funnels, right? There's a million funnels when you get down to specifics. The funnel cookbook has like 22, I think. I can't remember how many. But they all really boil down to 2 types, right? The presentation style, which is the type where you are doing a video sales letter or you're doing a webinar, something like that. And the unboxing funnel is more where you take your offer and you unbox it and you introduce, like, here's a piece, here's another piece, here's another piece. And it's kind of like when you drop crumbs and a kid follows the crumbs, and they're like, ooh, and then they get closer to what your actual goal is. So at Funnel Hacking Live, during that presentation, which I believe is I put in the Funnel Builder Secrets area so you can review it, I talked about 3 things as trying to decide which sort of funnel works best: price, market, talent. And I also want to discuss the idea of whether your funnel is working as a front-end funnel or as a back-end funnel, because that also can sometimes help. Hello. I'm recording on Zoom. Okay, so let's go into the 2 most common unboxing funnel types, and then we'll go into the 2 most common presentation style types, and then we'll look at what it looks like if you want both types of funnels in your company. All right, so here's the first. I'm going to actually put this into presenter mode. I should make it a little bigger. And bing. Okay, so this is what we would call a traditional self-liquidating offer. All right, so you guys, for those of you who are in Steven's masterclass, you're working on your offer, right? You're working on, you're not selling a product anymore. You're selling an offer with the hook and the story and all that stuff that Russell has just been like, kind of like pounding into our brain. So here's your offer, right? Here it is in a box. And with an unboxing style funnel, we don't sell it all as a bundle. We put it in a funnel in strategic order. So product number 1, whoops, hold on. Sorry, guys. Product number 1, here's the sales page. Maybe it's a $7 book or a $20 class or something. Then they read that, they get excited, they go to the order form to purchase product 1, and on the order form, now they see an order bump for product number 2. This is the second part of your offer, right? This is the add-on that makes sense based on what they're buying. Then they put their credit card information in, they hit submit, then they're offered the first one-time upsell. Now, maybe you only have one, that's totally cool. And this is the third product, right? This is the natural progression. They've already purchased product 1, maybe they purchased product 2, and now they're being offered product 3. And then I put this as optional. Some of you may not have this. It's totally cool if you don't, but some of you may have a second upsell, or maybe you have a downsell, and that would be the fourth product. So here, you're literally unboxing the pieces of your offer in a traditional funnel. Now, this funnel may also have a free offer in front of it. You may see things like, hey, get your free report, or hey, take this cool quiz, or hey, do this 5-day challenge, right? A lot of these types of funnels have something completely and entirely free in front of them, and then here's the funnel. The second type of unboxing funnel, which I think is Russell's favorite, is the free plus shipping. And here, if you think about Expert Secrets, right, his offer is Expert Secrets, the book, the Story Selling Secrets course, the audio book for Expert Secrets, and then Expert Evolution, right? So those 4 products is his offer. So he unboxes it and he puts the book right here as product number 1. The order bump is, I think it's like the black box or Story Selling Secrets, right? That's the second thing. Then he offers the $47 audio book, and then he offers Expert Evolution for $197. So he uses the free plus shipping as the unboxing offer. Now, a couple things I want to talk about with the 2 unboxing funnels, and this all goes back to the very beginning where I talked about how you determine if you want an unboxing funnel or if you want a presentation style. The thing is, I would say to stick with proven pricing. If you have low cost products, books, small courses, things that are basically $197 or less, an unboxing offer works really well. And what was so curious is that I got a bunch of funnel Audible applications, and there were a couple people that are trying to sell much higher priced products in an unboxing funnel. And a lot of times that doesn't work as well. So you want to kind of look at price. There are instances where you can sell something that's higher, like $297 in an unboxing style funnel, but you definitely want to offer a payment plan there because it's a hard sell if you don't have a payment plan. And the other thing is I notice a lot of people, they try to do memberships as their OTOs. They like offer a book and then they offer a little order bump and then they try to sell a membership here. And it can be really hard to sell continuity as an OTO just because it's a hard commitment for people to make month after month. So unless your membership is super low cost, I don't necessarily recommend that you sell a membership in an unboxing funnel unless it's less than like $50 a month. So is everyone like clear on the unboxing funnel? So these are the unboxing ones. Now the presentation style, most of you know what this is. This is the webinar, right? And what happens here is when you're working with Steven on your offer, right? And you're coming up with your stack and all that cool stuff, what you're doing is you're really just waiting all the way till they get to the actual presentation, and then you're offering everything in one big bundle. Now you may do all 4 products, or you may just do 3 and maybe have a little order bump, but for the most part, everything stays boxed up in the webinar. And this works well when you have a little bit higher priced offers. The other type of presentation style funnel that's super common is the application funnel. And this is where you do either a video sales letter or you do kind of like a micro webinar, something like that. And you have them opt in. Once they've watched this, they put their name, their email address in, then they go to an application page and then they go to schedule a call. And once they get on the call, you can sell them whatever you want, right? Because it's completely up to you based on how the phone conversation is going. You can pretty much customize your offer. And so then they go to the order form. All right, so Jordan's asking what's an OTO? One OTO stands for one-time offer. It's a special priced product in your funnel that they can't get anywhere else. All right, so for presentation style funnels, right, you want to also stick with proven pricing that works. So if you have an offer that's between $497 and $19.97, it can be done with a buy now. You can basically go ahead, you can do your webinar, you can give them a buy now, they can go to the order form and buy now. Anything that's bigger or higher price than $19.97 really probably should be closed on the phone. And here's a really good tip. If you're not really good at webinars yet, you're still practicing, you're not that confident in your pitching, it might be a good idea to get on the phone even with a lower priced item. So when I first did a webinar, I was getting on the phone for $9.97 and for $14.97. It was just, I just needed that extra like touch point with my customer. And so these are just general rules of thumb. Anything above $19.97 starts to get really hard to sell off a webinar. Russell makes it look easy, but that's because he's the king. So I would just give you that advice there. And most importantly, in the presentation style, there's usually not a lot of OTOs and things like that because you're selling a big product. So maybe you could have an order bump, but I would keep most of your OTOs and all that kind of like cool, you know, upsells and downsells. I would stick with the unboxing style and not the presentation style. All right. Okay, cool. Everyone following on all of that? All right, so let me pop out here so I can just look at my slides for a second. So if we come back here, so you want to look at price, right? We want to look at, are you selling low cost products? Are you selling a high cost, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is, what's the market already doing? Like, this is where it comes to funnel hacking. And I know you guys are funnel hacking and you're offer hacking and all that awesome stuff with Steven and Russell. The third thing is talent, right? I think, you know, I don't want to use talent as an excuse. If you say, oh, I'm horrible on camera or I'm horrible at presenting and therefore I can never do a webinar. You know, there are some people who are never going to be as animated on camera as others. That's okay. But I think that we should all probably give it a shot because video is so important, even if you can't get your face on camera. But you know, certain funnels have more of the person than others. So that's kind of another thing. The last thing I want to talk about real quick, make sure that everybody understands before we proceed, front end and back end. And this is important because this kind of has to do a little bit with value ladder. I see a great question from Julie. She's asking about what if you have a VIP option on a presentation style? And I think that's totally fine. I see that a lot where when you have a webinar and it's like, hey, it's $9.97 or $9.97 plus an extra grand for some VIP support. You're really just selling that one offer. You're adding an add-on. So it works well. So let's talk about front end and back end. And when Russell, he talked about the value ladder, right? And there's the value ladder is getting people in, right? Then if you can get your leads for free, that's awesome. And then you sell them higher and higher offers. So a lot of you probably are going to need 2 funnels at least, but you need to focus on one, right? So I'm going to actually delete this for a second here. And I'm going to just like talk about the value ladder because I think this helps everyone understand where they're at in their business right now. All right, so I'm just going to, let's do this. And I'm going to talk about this as your core offer. All right, so this is like, if we talk about Russell, let's just use Russell as an example because we all know him. His core offer, what's his core offer, right? It's ClickFunnels. All right, and it's $97 a month to $297 a month. This is his core offer. So what kind of funnel did he build for his core offer? Well, he built a webinar funnel. He built funnel hacks, right? So I'm just going to make this is like the webinar, the registration, and then the countdown, and then the watch page, and then the order form, and then the order confirmation, right? So this is his core offer. This is right in the middle of his value ladder. Okay. Now, even though he can definitely, and you'll see him do this, right? He'll take a Facebook ad and he'll send people right to the webinar registration page, and he'll send traffic right into his core offer, right? And he'll get people, and that's awesome. But it'll cost him, I don't know what it costs him exactly, but it'll cost him probably, you know, let's say $200. to get a customer, maybe more, I don't know, maybe 160. John would know better. So that's kind of expensive. So he then builds a front end offer to help reduce the cost to acquire a customer. So if we take his core offer and now we look at his front end offer, gosh, Zoom is making my computer run so slow. And we talk about his front end offer, right, which is Expert Secrets. All right, that's the $7.95 free plus shipping. Okay, what kind of funnel is that? Well, that's a unboxing funnel, right? So I'm just going to put it over here. He's got Expert Secrets, then he has the audiobook, then he has the Expert Evolution course, and then his order confirmation. So what happens when he does this is not only does he acquire his leads for free, but he also then makes money. So he makes some profit, not a ton, but he makes some. He actually makes a lot, but again, he's the king of this, so he makes it look like it's so easy, right? So he makes profit here, and then he simply sends people into his next offer so that all of this is profit, right? So he has Facebook ads running to both. He has Facebook ads running into his front end offer, and he has Facebook ads running into his core offer. Now his back end offer is 2 Club X, right? He's not really running ads to this because it's a back end offer. And so here, probably the kind of funnel that we're going to do is either a webinar or an application funnel. And this would be the top. This is the top of his value ladder. And this is how people move through his value ladder. And probably he's not going to send Facebook ads direct into 2 Club X. He's going to instead send them into Expert Secrets and send them into ClickFunnels. So for you guys who are building your businesses and you're trying to get into the 2 Club in the next 12 months, our brains, we like to think, oh, let's build our front end, then build our core end, and then build our back end, right? We like to be really logical. The reason why I think Russell and I and other coaches will say, hey, maybe that's not such a good idea, is it's better to build your core offer first, this one right here, because what you can do is you can, and that's totally backwards, there we go, build your core offer first as much as possible, because you can send ads directly into your core offer and then build a front end for it. Now, core offers can be unboxing style funnels, but there's usually less wiggle room. So typically, again, every rule can be broken. Typically, our front end funnels tend to be more unboxing style funnels, and our core or our back end offers tend to be more presentation style funnels. So as you're thinking about your offer, some of you might be like, well, I have a front end, like I have a book funnel or I have a course funnel or whatever, but I definitely do have that core program in the back end. Well, here is what Russell has done with his front ends. It's also what Dean Holland talked about at Funnel Hacking Live. So if you have his slides, you should definitely go check it out. And in this case, what he did was he created an unboxing style, and then he put a thank you page webinar. So basically, people go through the unboxing, and on the order confirmation page, he invites them to a training that starts immediately. And if you go through the Expert Secrets book funnel, if you go through the .com Secrets book funnel, you will see the thank you page webinars right there on the order confirmation form. And some of them will either go right to a buy now or they'll go to an application. So this is the way you can kind of smush the core offer and the front offer into one big funnel. However, what I will tell you is that Russell does take this webinar here and he does make his own funnel out of it. It's not, this isn't the only place it is. So either way, you end up with 2 funnels. But I just kind of wanted to show you that option as well. If you are like, oh, well, I have a book funnel and I really, really want to sell something high ticket in that funnel, the order confirmation page might be a great place to do it. All right. So is everyone clear and cool on that? Because I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is this concept of pre-selling, and really interested to know how many of you guys are thinking about pre-selling, or you don't have a product yet, but this makes you nervous, because I saw this again and again and again. Okay, so Nicholas has the question. He says, if offering a monthly service with a 12-month minimum for an agency, would that be a core offer funnel that needs to be sold on the phone? Yeah, absolutely. I think anything that has a 12-month commitment, especially in a done-for-you type service, if it's an agency, absolutely needs to be closed on the phone because of just the trust level and that touch point for sure. And I would also recommend you check out Proposal Secrets because that is specific for service-based businesses as well. All right, so let's talk about pre-selling on a webinar. So as you guys are going through Secrets Masterclass, for those of you who are going through it and you're coming up with your offers and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, like, how do I validate this? I'm doing the best I can, making an amazing offer, good hook, good story. How do I validate it? And I think the easiest way to validate, even if you decide later on to like make some fancy funnel, is to pre-sell off of a live webinar. And this is kind of the model that I think really helps. And guys, I've seen people do this and they have like 10 people on a webinar and they sell 1 or 2, right? It totally works. You don't have to have huge numbers of people. You just need to be patient and you need to be committed to doing that live webinar and seeing if the market will validate the offer that you just created. All right, so here's how you do it. You reverse engineer everything, okay? So right now, for those of you who are working on your offer, right? You're working on your offer. Once you have your offer, by the time your offer is done, you're gonna have your stack and you're gonna understand your 3 beliefs. Your 3 secrets and as they relate to the beliefs, and you're gonna know what the new vehicle is, right? The very first thing that you wanna do is just create a webinar registration page right here. Okay, I'm just gonna draw this out as I talk about it. So as you create a webinar registration page, you are going to be like rehashing and redialing in that big domino and those 3 secrets and everything. So all you have to do is create a registration page and then just create a confirmation page that says, hey, thanks so much, you're confirmed, blah, 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 okay? That's it. That's what you do first, okay? Now that you have the webinar registration page, now you need to go find some people to sign up for it. So maybe you're gonna do some ads, maybe you're gonna do some door-to-door marketing, you're gonna go into Facebook groups, maybe you have a small little email list, friends and family, like you're just gonna go and you're gonna hustle and you're gonna see if you can get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people to register. What you'll do then is once you have people, you have butts in seats, right? You have people that are ready to watch what you have to say. Now you've got a fire under your butt to make sure that webinar is as good as possible. So the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna build your webinar presentation, which shouldn't be hard. If you go through Secrets Masterclass and you work on your offer, it shouldn't be hard because number 1, you'll have your offer in your stack. You'll also have your 3 secrets. All you have to do is really like fill out the content, work on your epiphany bridge stories, connect up your stack, and your webinar is done, right? So you're gonna build your webinar presentation and you're gonna offer it and you're gonna do it live. The only thing that you have to do at the end of your webinar presentation is take payment, right? You don't actually have to have the course or program done. I recommend that you do everything, even if it's gonna be a DIY course that's gonna have no involvement from you. I really recommend that you do it live at least once because your students, number 1, are gonna completely tell you where your gaps are. They're gonna tell you where you're not making sense, what kind of things you need. They're gonna really enjoy that more like personal touch. And so all you have to do is create an order form, okay, that you're gonna use off your webinar. And if you're gonna sell on the phone, that's fine, sell on the phone. And then on the order confirmation form, once they've purchased, just put a calendar, just put a date, okay? And just have your dates of when your classes are gonna be. Treat it just like you would if you were going to college. Like, hey, class begins this date and we're gonna go for 4 weeks and we're gonna do 1-hour sessions or whatever. Once you have money in hand, the motivation will be much, much higher to actually produce that content and produce it in a timely manner, and you'll get feedback from your students. So as long as you don't lie about the fact that the content is all there and you just tell people, hey, this is gonna be a live class, you're gonna get interaction with me, I'm gonna actually be able to build this exactly as you need it because I'm gonna be taking feedback. There's no reason why you can't build everything live as you go first, just to make sure the market wants it. I know a lot of you are like, pre-selling makes me nervous, but we sign up for college, you guys, and we spend 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 and all the classes happen live. So that it's not like there's not precedent for this in the real world. There totally is. And as long as you understand that when you give of yourself as an instructor, as a teacher, right? Like how many of you guys like the fact that I'm here live, I'm in the flesh, we're talking, I'm answering your questions? That's so much better than just DIY it where you can't get any access to me. So it's about switching your brain and realizing that this is actually oftentimes the best way to deliver content in the first place. So I see some people asking about live webinars for live webinars. And what I do is I use Zoom. I love Zoom. You have to buy the webinar add-on. And then what you can do is you can type in the chat, you can put it on one of your slides, the link to go to the order form. So I hope you guys can see that if you really just focus on one thing, building your registration page, see if you can get people to register, build your presentation, see if you can get people to buy. Once you get people to buy, then you build the course. And then once it's done, then you do with it whatever you want. You could turn it into any kind of funnel you want. So that's just my opinion for how you pre-sell something. Okay. All right, cool. I'm going to move on to the next topic, and then we're going to dive right into Audibles and questions because I think I have like 45 bajillion questions. Let me just see if there's any questions regarding this particular thing about pre-selling. Jesse says, would you recommend doing a lower price the first time you build out your program? Yeah, so I like to. You don't have to because, like I said, they're getting a good touch point with you. I typically, so like my program was $19.97. I beta rounded it at $9.97. And I built this whole thing, registration page, presentation, order form, sales page with not one single lecture finished. And that was, I already had a big following, so this isn't fair to say, but like I closed $150,000 in that first launch without anything built. The first time I did it, you guys, just so you know, was a $9,000 launch, and I did it on a totally different program, but I did the same thing. I pre-sold everything because I was so afraid of spending time and money and capital that I didn't have because I was, trying to provide for my family, that I wanted to make sure the market validated it. Okay, so a couple people about pre-selling a book. This is like how far in advance? I mean, I ordered a book the other day that's coming out in July. I have patience, so I don't really care, but I feel like to pre-order a book, I don't know, maybe 30 days out. I feel like if it goes too long, I mean, unless it's really like a hugely anticipated book. But the thing is, when it comes to pre-selling a big program like this off a webinar is one thing. It's much harder to pre-sell something in an unboxing funnel. So typically when I have people come to me who say, hey, I want to build like a front-end funnel, like a little $27 course and another $77 course, I don't typically pre-sell those as much because I want people to go through the funnel and take the bumps and the order bumps and the OTOs. And if you're pre-selling a book, it can sometimes be tricky to like have them buy all the other stuff in the funnel. So anyway, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. Okay. And so TJ's question is, how long do you typically have to produce the masterclass before they get antsy about getting the content? I launched in April and I released the content beginning in May. So I think no more than 30 days. The other thing is, if you were doing a coaching program and you want to like kind of, there are things that you can do to get them excited. Maybe you can do a little onboarding sequence. Like I know for me, what I did when I sold my program is I told everybody to go buy .com Secrets and Expert Secrets, get these books. I gave them a reading list, gave them a calendar, got them in the Facebook group, just things that like feel like there's momentum and movement, even if the course isn't actually happening yet. That can make a big difference. Okay, Jordan's saying, is there a price cap to pre-selling? I don't think so. I think you can do whatever you want. All right, and Adam is asking about doing a webinar live every week. How do we schedule our beta group? And that's so awesome because I'm about to show you, that's my very next topic because I saw everyone was asking about live webinars. So I want to talk about live webinars when you're doing a weekly webinar, okay? David, okay, this is the last question. I'm going to move on. He says, it would seem that one's coaching offer must be vague in order to pre-sell and allow the market to tell you what they want. Is that accurate? Yes and no. No, in that you can't sell anything vague and expect people to buy it, right? And so in Secrets Masterclass, Stephen is really pushing you, and Russell really pushes you to create a very specific offer, understand your niche, understand your customer. The part about validating it is like you want to make that as powerful, as irresistible as possible, and you want to send it out into the market. The good news is if you pre-sell it and nobody buys it, at least you haven't wasted time and money and energy building out a product that people don't want. So yeah, it sucks if you've spent all this time on your offer and your webinar, but like you've just spent time on an offer and a webinar. You haven't actually produced anything yet. So it's not that big of a loss. But I wouldn't say that you should, like, I think what you're talking about more is like, that's at the level of the ask campaign where you're really asking what people want. Create your offer, make it as like awesome as possible, validate it, pre-sell it. And if people buy, build it. And if people don't buy, don't build it. Okay. All right. So let's now talk about, this is the blah, 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 blah. What am I trying to say? Here it is, the live weekly webinar. So I know a lot of you are thinking, okay, how do I logistically pull this off if I'm doing a live weekly webinar? And there is some parts of this that are manual, but the reason why is because you are going to learn so much about your customer, about your presentation skills, about what emails work, about what emails don't work, that it's really important to do this for a few months before you automate it. Now, for those of you who are selling coaching programs, beta rounds of things, your brain might be thinking, well, how do I do weekly live webinars and pull this off? I'm going to show you how I do a 2-month coaching program, a 3-month coaching program, and a 4-month coaching program off of a live webinar. But first, I want to talk about logistics of a live webinar. All right, so here, for a live webinar, you're going to need 1 registration page and 1 confirmation page. There's no need to create more. Even if you do this every week for an entire year, just 1 registration, 1 confirmation. You're also going to need 1 replay email, sorry, 1 replay page and 1 order page. All right, so you'll need that, okay? You're gonna need 3 indoctrination emails. Now, you also may wanna have 3 indoctrination videos, right? And Russell shows you how to, in the funnel cookbook, he shows you can have like an indoctrination email, and then there's a link, and then they click over, and then it's a little ClickFunnels page with a video, right? And it's like a teaser. So you'll just need 3 of those, and you'll need 3 replay emails, okay? These are the assets you need for a weekly live webinar, whether you do it once or 500 bazillion times. Each week, there's going to be some manual work that has to be done. So each week, you're going to have to change the date on the registration page and on the countdown page, right? So you're going to update it. So let's say you do your webinars on Thursdays, right? So each Thursday, right before you go onto your webinar, go into your registration, change it there, okay? You will need to change the dates on the replay and order, especially if you're using like a countdown for those 3 days, so that the people going through the sequence are feeling that scarcity and urgency. And you will need to duplicate your emails each week. All right, so this is the manual work involved. It's really not that big of a deal. And I want to show you, I'm going to put this into presentation mode. This looks complicated. I promise it's not. The reason why you only want 1 registration page is because the Facebook ad, and for Facebook ads, things start rocking and rolling, optimizing. If you change the link on the Facebook ad, it resets all the comments, likes, and shares on the ad. So you always want the Facebook ad going to the same URL. So if they see the Facebook ad on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, the registration page is going to show, oh, it's starting in a few hours, or it's starting in a day. If they happen to see the Facebook ad and click on the ad on a Friday, a Saturday, or a Sunday, it's just going to show the following week, because what will you have done? You will have gone in on Thursday and you will have changed the date. And that's really it. So as you can see, here is your, sorry, every time I click it moves. your pre-scheduled broadcast, right? Email 1, email 2, email 3. Maybe these link to actual videos, right, on ClickFunnels pages. They're getting these broadcasts. It's important to note that these shouldn't be automated emails. These should be pre-scheduled. So you go in to ClickFunnels and you pre-schedule them so that if someone registers on Tuesday, they're going to get Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? If they register on Wednesday, they'll see Wednesday and Thursday, but they won't get Tuesdays. And that's just because sometimes people are registering and it's not quite like they're only registering a few hours before, so they don't have time for that whole indoctrination sequence. You know, and so if you guys are like, well, they have to get the whole indoctrination sequence, then you have to change the date, the deadline to register on a Tuesday, right? Do you see how that works? So you pre-schedule these broadcasts. They go into Zoom. They watch, and on the Zoom webinar, you send them to the order form, and now that has a date countdown of 3 days. And then if they don't buy, you send them a replay sequence, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that takes them over to the replay page, which takes them to the order form. And then each week, you just duplicate your email broadcasts and do it again and do it again. And the idea is that each week, you just create a new email list in Actionetics so that the people who are going through this sequence, ding, 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 boom, it actually shuts down and they don't hear about it again unless they happen to click on the Facebook ad again and then they go through the whole thing again. And then this would be a second email list, ding, 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 and a third email list. So each week, you can actually create it like 3 weeks ahead of time. You can do an entire month. Create 4 email lists, set your alarm to change the dates, and copy and pre-schedule those broadcasts. And that's how you do a live webinar every single week. Now, yeah, okay, so Joel's saying with Action Funnels in Actionetics MD, can't we control the date release now? For example, email only goes out on Tuesdays. Yeah, so I was talking to Jamie about this, Jamie Smith, and I'm not completely 1000% sure, but I feel like those send windows are any Tuesday at 7 a.m. So you may be able to pull it off. I just, for my brain, I was not quite sure if I could. I know there's send windows, but I don't know if there's send windows that are date specific. And that's not what I'm quite sure. So in my head, it's like, I'm just going to create an email list. And when I go to change the registration page, I'm going to change it to the next email list. And I think for simplicity's sake, when I talked to Jamie and we walked through it, and I'm happy to walk through it with you guys so you can see exactly how to do it. He seemed to think that was the easiest way to do it too. But I'm sure as Actionetics MD gets fancier and fancier, there may be date specific time sensitive windows. I'm just not sure. So maybe Russell can confirm with us on that. So Adam, yeah, you're using the same emails every single week because every single week you got different bunches of people going through. So once somebody goes through it, you don't really talk to them again about this funnel until maybe, I think Russell said on a thread earlier, once a quarter. That makes sense. Like every quarter you do like a big push, but once they go through it once, it's just you're getting new people each week coming through the funnel. Do you have to have Actionetics to get started with this weekly format? You definitely have to have an email service provider. So if you don't have Actionetics, you need to use something else that can pre-schedule the broadcasts. So David says he is unclear about the 3 separate pre-scheduled broadcasts we have in the diagram. Okay, sure. Let me just. The idea is basically when you go into Actionetics, you can easily, let me just see, 1 second. I'm just trying to get my account to load. It's being slow. Yeah, so let me show you how to do it. So you go over here and you go into Actionetics. This is basically just Actionetics. You create your email list like April 20th, April 27th, May 5th, May whatever. So you create that email list, right? And you hook that email list up to your registration page, right? So when it says, hey, where does this email list go? You put it in the, you choose the one that you want. And then you're going to create a broadcast, right? Add new broadcast. And this is MD right here. And let's say you're going to grab the correct list and hit save. and then it's gonna break. Next. Okay, it's broken at this moment. So I'll have to fix it. The idea is you create the list, you write out the message, and then you schedule it, right? And you do that, and then you do it again. You copy that email and you do it with the next list, and you schedule it, and you schedule it on the actual days. And then all you have to do is when it's time for the next list, you just go into the registration page and swap out the list so that everyone's registering in this webinar list. And then once Thursday comes around, now they're going it into this next list. Does that make sense? Yeah, so Joel, I'm running ads. Yeah, no date specific, like, hey, this webinar is happening. That way I can optimize the ads, and I'm just changing the dates. That's it. I'm just changing dates, changing lists, and copying. All right, so one of the things that I wanted to explain to you guys, if you're doing any sort of like coaching program, group coaching program, a lot of people are like, how do you do this live if you have like cohorts of people going through? And so I like to think in 30-day spurts because I feel like people can't really last more than 30 days without waiting for something. So here's kind of how I make it look. So let's just talk about a 3-month coaching program. All right, that's easy enough. All right, so we're going to have group A, and they start in May. All right, and group A is going to go May, June, July, like this. All right, so here's your 3-month coaching program. So if you're running your webinar in April, right, here's your webinar in April. Everybody who's buying now, who's calling on the phone, who's doing all that kind of stuff, they are going to go into group A, right? And you're like, yep, it starts May 1st, blah, 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 okay? Just like that. Sorry, I get kind of OCD about my little like links and stuff. All right, so now let's say what happens is now May turns around, right? And it's time to keep doing your webinar, okay? So now what's gonna happen is you're gonna be like, your group is starting in June, okay? And so we're gonna grab this and we're gonna call this group B. Because it's May, they only still have to wait 30 days, right? Like they don't have to wait longer than anybody else because you're starting group B in June, July, and August. You guys can kind of see where this is going, right? Actually, what I'm gonna do is put it like this so that you can see. It's like, it doesn't actually make them wait that long. Okay, like this. Then you go to do your webinar in June, and this is what happens, is that eventually you do your webinar in June and you're like, okay, you're gonna start in July, and that becomes group C. Okay, just like this, ding, ding, ding. And you've got July, August, and September. And the nice thing is that once you've got, this is what I call a full board, because now you got a full board, you're running 3 groups. So maybe you're running on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, right? You're running your A group on Mondays, your B group on Wednesdays, and your C group on Fridays. Now what's gonna happen is when you go to do your webinar in July, right? Your group A is over. So you're like, all right, you're gonna start in August, but now you're starting back around with group A again, right? Because now A is over. And so you'll just go like this. So the idea is that however long your program is how many groups you can have at once. So obviously it gets a little dicey if you have a 4-month program because you're running 4 groups at once. In my opinion, you can't really run a coaching program that's longer than 5 months because then you end up with like 6 groups and then you're just like all burned out and stuff. So I feel like the sweet spot is 3 to 4 months at most, and then you're always running 3 groups. And then everybody is always getting to start at a live time. They get to have their little cohort. They don't have to wait longer than 30 days. And maybe from the time they buy to the time they start, you know, they're getting indoctrinated and onboarding and all that kind of stuff. And that's how you run a program. So if you have a 2-month program, you're always running 2 groups. If you have a 3-month, you're running 3 groups. And if you have a 4-month, you're running 4 groups. And if you have a 5-month program, you're running 5 days a week. You're running 1 cohort each day. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, so this is basically how I would run it. And then you can do your live webinar every single week. And depending on where it is, the scarcity can be even hotter. It's like, hey, this group is starting next week and there's only 2 spots left, and you can really push it. And then if you're on the first of the month, you can be like, hey, you guys are the first group, you're gonna get whatever, you're gonna have a whole month to get ready, you're gonna be more prepared. You can come up with like some angle as to why like having that 30-day preparation is super sweet. And so you can totally plan this and run it like that. And then this will be your beta group right here. If you're validating it, this becomes your validation group, so that as soon as you start this webinar, now you can go ahead and change the price or whatever, because, or maybe actually probably by the time if you're doing a beta group, it's probably going to take you 3 solid months to get all the content out. So I would say this would be the start of when the true beta ends, because by this point, you'll have a full 3 months of content already built out in the members area. And so at that point, this is where you might be able to start automating it, or, you know, not doing beta anymore, all that kind of stuff. Is everyone cool with that, following that? Awesome. I see some people asking about slides. I'm happy to put the slides underneath the recording as well. All right, just making sure I have all the questions. Yeah, so you guys can totally do beta pricing. I love to do it. My students love it. They feel like they're getting a sweet deal. They're getting more attention from me. They get impact in the course, in the program, all that kind of stuff. All right, cool. And I know a lot of you are asking about webinar software. There are some questions about that in the Q&A that we'll get to. In general, I use Zoom for live webinars, and I just use ClickFunnels for automated webinars, and I don't mess with Webinar Jam or EverWebinar or anything like that. And I know some of you are like, well, you know, there's extra like stealth features, and I understand, but like there's a lot of people making a lot of money keeping it simple. And so I think we get really hung up on like the cool features. And I think that simplicity reigns supreme. If you have a good offer, you can make a lot of money on a really good offer, even without all the super bells and whistles. All right. So let's, at this point, that was kind of those big questions that I wanted to answer for you guys this week. Obviously, if you still have questions, we can keep going next week and talk about it more. But what I want to do now is I want to transition into the funnel audibles. And I've got 4 people who qualified for funnel audible this week because they had at least 1,000 people on their landing page, spent at least $1,000 in ads. So I want to transition to that, give some tips, some ideas, some strategy for these 4 folks. And then I have approximately 85 questions on all different topics. So anyway, yeah, so I see people asking questions about like actually doing the live webinar. So we can talk about that when I get to the Q&A hour. So just remember your question, because I'm not going to remember it. Okay, so let's do funnel audibles. Okay, so let's go here. I'm going to do Moms Gone Strong first. Now, I've got all of these pages up here, so I'm just going to put them up. And I want to show you kind of what I did and what I dug deep in and kind of my ideas. Keep in mind that I have one set of experiences and I am not the be all and end all. I will be wrong sometimes. Russell will be wrong. Stephen will be wrong. Like, we're just doing the best we can with the experiences that we have and the funnels that we've built. So if something I say doesn't resonate with you, like, you don't just have to take my word for it. You can ask other coaches. You can do more research. You can do more funnel hacking. But these are the things that I thought of. I spent approximately 3 hours this morning digging through these 4 funnels and just kind of thinking about them. So this is what I came up with. All right. So let's do Moms Gone Strong. This is Sarah Thibodeau's funnel. And here are her basic stats that I wanted to just make sure everybody understood. It'll help you understand kind of where I'm coming at. They sell pregnancy and post-pregnancy workout health packages. These are info products. There is a mailed out portion, but the pregnancy package is $199. The postpartum is $199. So the complete bundle, when they get together, is $299. They get to save $100. There were 2,000 unique views on the sales page. Okay, and let me just show you that sales page here. I'm going to show it to you. Here it is. Okay, so this is their sales page right here. Traditional sales page. They've got the testimonials, the headlines, the features, the benefits, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. And then they have the buy now button. And when you click the buy now button, no matter which one you go to, no matter which one you click on, you end up at this order form. I can go back over here. Okay, so they said that they had 784 people get to the order form, right? So 700, so it's almost half of people who looked at the sales page then went over to the order form, okay? Which is pretty decent, I think. That means that the sales page is at least communicating enough to get 50% of people to be like, yeah, I want to know more. And then they had 89 orders, and there was a 4.2% buy rate. Now, for buy rates, my personal experience is I like to see buy rates between 1% and 5%. So at first glance, I'd be like, that's a decent buy rate, okay? But then as I started to dig deeper, I started to think a little bit about what would actually make this a lot better, because you can see here that 784 people are at the order form, but only 89 actually end up ordering. They actually do the deed. I also wanted to know how many people are buying both versus postpartum versus pregnancy. And as you can see here, 47 people bought both, 25 bought the postpartum, and 17 bought the pregnancy. This didn't surprise me because more people are postpartum than pregnant. So that made sense to me. But as you can see, most people, about half, more than half, bought both together. All right. So this is a couple things that I wanted to talk about. And this is where I gotta talk about my notes here. The first thing I want to do is I want to talk about the problem with having a sales message that's speaking to two different people, right? Get peace of mind that you're moving and eating in a way that's safest and healthiest for you and your baby at every stage of pregnancy and postpartum. So when I go to this sales page, if I'm not pregnant, my brain immediately kind of clicks off, right? Because I'm like, I'm not sure. And then I'm like, oh wait, this is for postpartum. But a lot of the copy is speaking more to pregnant women than to postpartum. And so I feel like trying to sell this to both avatars at the same time is probably hurting sales. And the other thing is, I know that from just a conversion standpoint, you're wasting a lot of space up here. And it's, this buy now button is a little funny to me. Normally a buy now would go under here, and you'd have like a support link up there, something like that. If you look at Russell's funnels, there's a few things about this that I think from a conversion standpoint could be optimized. The other thing is, if we go like this, it's not terrible, but you're wasting a lot of space here on a logo. You're wasting a lot of space here. And so I think also thinking about the mobile optimization feature here would be really important. So those were just a few things about the sales page right off the bat. But ultimately, I think the issue here is that you're selling to pregnant and postpartum moms at the same time. And I think you'd get a lot more sales if you customized the message to pregnant women and to postpartum women. So this is kind of what I came up with. And then I want to talk about the order form. So I think you rework this a little bit. The first thing I think is that you need a self-select survey opt-in here that's asking people, are they pregnant or are they in their postpartum months? That's super easy to do with ClickFunnels. You create the survey element, and then all you have to do is drop them off on the page that speaks to pregnant women or postpartum women. And it's so funny that this came up as an Audible, because I'm writing an e-commerce book right now with Russell. And they do this. One of the funnels is a quiz funnel, and they sell the same thing no matter what answer they have on the quiz, but the copy is completely changed depending on the reason that they buy, right? So if you're selling a health and a weight loss, maybe the reason why you want to lose weight is because you want to look cute in a little black dress, or maybe you want to lose weight because maybe the problem is you want to stop binge eating in front of the TV at night, right? Like our why behind it is very different. And so the more customize the copy, the more powerful the message, the more conversion. So I say you create a self-select here for pregnant postpartum. You create 2 versions of the same sales page, but I honestly feel like you need to have the sales page and the order form on one. There's 2 ways to do it. The first is with a 2-step, right? Where they have to fill their name and email, and then they go to the second step. This will allow you to grab lead information even if they don't finish. And we were seeing here, we had a lot of people go to the order form, but only 89 orders. So that could really help is if we created the sales page with the order form on it. The other way is to have a button that does show hide so that when they're ready to buy, it just shows the order form and then the order form is hidden before they click the button. The other thing I think you should do is you should leverage an order bump. And if we go over here, I'm going to totally lose my spot. If we go over here to the checkout page, you'll see that there's no order bump. And order bumps are like free money, totally free money. See, because what you're doing here is you're asking people to make a choice, and then they're like, oh, I don't know which one, and then they walk away. But if you have a pregnancy, right, and the woman is pregnant, she lands on the sales page, she gets here, there's only one option, right? Pregnancy package for moms, and then there's an add-on that says, hey, guess what? You're not going to be pregnant forever. Get the postpartum. Save 50%. $199 slashed to $99. I think you're probably going to get a lot of people to click that order bump once they get to that form. So the idea is that you create the opposite program as the order bump and you slash it and you say that it's on sale for $100 off. Okay, so that would be my recommendation. I don't know if you guys have an OTO offer that you could offer, but I'm just saying you don't have an OTO in there. So is there something else that you can add to your offer that would be really relevant? So that would be my recommendation here. Now, because this is a $199 offer, I feel like you need a front-end funnel to lead people in, but maybe you could just go straight to ads. I don't know. It seems kind of, seems kind of expensive to go straight to ads here. So I would definitely say you would have to, once you've fixed this, right, you can send it right to your warm market. You can send it right to your email list, right to your Facebook group, straight up. But it's the minute you start to run ads, I definitely say you need a front-end funnel, and then this would become your back-end funnel. The next thing that they mentioned to me, oh, and there was a couple other things I wanted to tell you about the order form before I move on. Okay, the Apple Pay is now available, so I would definitely add Apple Pay. I'm sure you're getting tons and tons of mobile viewers on this, which then makes me think that you also really could use some mobile optimization here. Now, these are just silly little things, but you see how you have email address, phone number. You don't need this here because you see how it says street address. I want you to take that stuff out and bump it up. You're going to shrink how much, like this looks like a lot, right? Shrink it up so that it's not so long and exhausting. Do you know what I mean? Funnel U and CF Pro Tools has a little box here that you can check so that shipping is the same as billing. It helps eliminate the number of fields they have to finish on mobile. Here, you're going to have less of this, and I feel like maybe using one of those pricing elements so that it looks more beautiful and just focusing on the one, just pregnancy or just postpartum, it's going to shrink this spot up here as well. You're going to have a lot less going on here for sure. And then add some icon, like a lock icon. The more security, the better. I feel like you could probably find a better secure payment icon here just to create that sense of safety, like this is legitimate. So I would definitely do that as well. Add a custom favicon at the top. Right now it's using the ClickFunnels. Oh, no, it's not. That was a different one. That was a different person. Sorry, that was my wrong notes. Squeeze up the form. The other thing you can do, because this is a market where this product is probably kind of expensive for people, you can do a pop-up payment plan so that if they attempt to exit, and you'll see this on some of Russell's funnels, if they attempt to exit, it'll say, wait, don't go. You can do a pop-up plan, okay, so that they can do a payment plan, or you could just add a payment plan here where it's like, Mom's Gone Strong, 1 pay, $199, or 3 pay for whatever, what would it be? three payments of 97 or 3 payments of 77. I bet you'd up conversions that way as well. Okay, so that's, and shrink this. We don't need, remember, the logos and everything just need to be as minimum as possible, like as minimal as possible, just enough to create security and trust, but then you can take it away. Now, the next thing that they told me about their funnel is that they have a sales page just like this, but for trainers. And they actually had more sales for the trainers than they did for the customer base. They had a 10.2% buy rate on this. They had a lot more sales. Super awesome, which means the market really likes this offer, right? The B2B market really likes it. My recommendation, I thought, you know what? This is clearly resonating. What if you went back to Secrets Masterclass and you created a bigger part of the offer? Trainers are liking this. Give them the pregnancy and postpartum bundle, but offer them some extra stuff. Things like, hey, how to get pregnant and postpartum clients, how to onboard them, how to market to them. And I was like, hello, ClickFunnels affiliate program. Give them the pre-made the funnel, right? Like teach them some about being a trainer in addition to the pregnant and postpartum, and add more to the offer, and then build a webinar funnel. Right now, you just have a straight up sales page. I would build a webinar funnel. I would raise the offer to $497. One of my clients a way back, she had an offer that was $497, and she would slash it right off the webinar to $397 for 60 minutes. And she made $1 million in 8 months on that funnel. So that's really, really compelling, really irresistible. So you could do that as well. And you could offer the 1 pay or the 3 pay of $197 and add an order bump, maybe a call or something VIP-ish. So that was my Audible for you. I don't know if she's even on the call right now, but if she is, I hope that was helpful. And I think, you know, eventually you're going to need a front end funnel to lead into this back end. But I think just making these changes to the order form, to the sales page, and with the self-select will make a huge, huge difference. Okay. Joey's saying, I like this price slash for 60 minutes. Did she do closes during the 60 minutes, or did she let it simmer? No, it was an auto webinar funnel. So she just, I mean, she had her closes there, but she didn't go on and on. It was just like once the button appeared at the webinar, then the 60-minute timer started counting down. So yeah, awesome. Okay, great. All right, let's move on now. Let me just close this stuff down so that we can move on to the next one. Okay, Jonathan. I don't know, Jonathan, are you here? I don't know if he's actually here. Okay, so here's his funnel. Let me show it to you, and then we'll look at the stats. Okay. Jonathan funnel hacked Russell's Expert Secrets book funnel. And his book funnel is about fit first responders. And it's about people who are in the first responder industry. And so he's selling an ebook for $7.95. And then what happens after that is he offers them a $20 a month membership here. And you get your first 20 days free. So the interesting thing about this is that the book is free plus shipping, and then this is actually free for 20 days. And so the information, you're here, awesome. The information I wasn't quite sure is the one stat that I didn't have, Jonathan, which maybe you can answer, is what's the churn rate? How many people, I know you said 6 people took the $20 membership. How many of them are sticking after the 20 days? That would be important to know. All right, so here are a couple things that I thought of. I want to show you guys all the stats here. Here is his offer, right? His offer is being unboxed. He's got a $7.95 ebook. He's got the $19 audio version, and then he's got a membership model at $20 a month for 20 days free. All right, just look here, make sure I've got the comments ready. Okay, so he had 5,000 unique views on the sales page. 464 people got to the order form, okay? So unlike, and this is where I'm trying to teach and Audible at the same time. If you notice here, almost half of the people went to the order form on Moms Gone Strong, And here we have a lot less than half. In fact, let me do the math here. What's 464 divided by 5567, right? We only have, what is that, 8% of people. So immediately I know something's not right with that sales page. And I know that because number one, we've got not very many people are getting to the order form after the sales page. And the buy rate is about 1.6%, right? It's a little bit on the lower end. I told you I'm looking for 1.5, between 1 and 5. It's definitely on the lower end. So Jonathan, then I noticed, okay, you got 6 people who bought the membership. So about 6% of people who buy the book are opting into the membership. And so he's telling me that they're sticking once they're in. Sorry, I have a weird echo in my ears. Sorry, guys. Okay, so the churn is low. I'm just going to put here low, which is good. All right. So just off the top of my head, if I go here, I feel like this is where we need some work. We need to get more people to buy this book than are buying it right now. So if we go over to, let's go to .com secrets. One of the things that I wanted to show you that I think is really cool. Hold on, I'm trying to pause that. There we go. I don't know if you've ever checked this, but this inside of this free book, here are a few of the secrets that you'll be given for free. These are all curiosity-driven bullet points. And the thing that's so amazing about these is that it's not like, hey, you suck, you need to be better. It's like, hey, here's one really cool, juicy solution. Go check it out on page this. Here's one juicy, sticky solution. Go check it out on page this. Where are we? Here you are. I feel like right now I don't see that. I see this, right? This free book is for you if you are living in pain, you're overwhelmed, you're depressed, you've lost faith, you're in over your head. Like, this is a lot of pain points, but like, you're not actually talking about the solution and the results. You're just like pain, 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 right? And then you're like, this book is for you. This book is for you. Whereas I feel like we need to swap that. We need to swap that around so that it's like, if you're struggling with this, on page 35, you'll learn the secret to blah, 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 what the result they want. The copy, I think, needs work here. I think it needs some significant work for sure. Oh yeah, Jamie's commenting. This looks like the 2 steps, so the numbers will be different. Yeah. Okay. So I would definitely change some of this copy here. And I would follow exactly this model that Russell's doing here on the .com secrets. In fact, he hired some guy to do this. I don't know who it was. And then he says, and that's just the first 160 pages, right? So if we look here, you've got just the chapters, but there's just not enough curiosity. So I would definitely fix that. And that's just the beginning. See, everything about your copy could just be just a little bit more specific. It's like, and that's in just the first 30 pages, blah, blah, blah. Like, do you know what I mean? That thing. If this stuff is really cool, it's not getting enough real estate. You need to kind of make it a little bit bigger. I also think if you look at the Expert Secrets book, here we go. Look at this headline right here. Find your message, build a tribe, and change the world. What if people would actually pay you for your advice? Get your free copy of Expert Secrets now. So I think I would definitely, all you've got here is get your free book, Fit First Responders. I feel like you need a headline that's going to actually talk about the result. You do a lot of talking about who the avatar is, which is fine. You need to know the avatar, but I think right here, it's like we need more results. That was my first thought. I liked your video. I watched your video through to the end. You've got great energy. I also think you can see here, we've got, there's like 1, 2, 3, like real descriptive results driven pieces of copy right above the fold. So I would definitely add that. Also, this get your free copy of Expert Secrets shipped in less than 7 days. I would definitely add that up here. Add an icon, add like a lock icon, something like that. In general, with direct response copy, you want them to be able to skim the whole page, read all the headlines, and completely know what they're talking about. And so when you only use headlines for things like free book, hurry, this won't last now. They're skimming and they're not getting any more information about the product than, do you know what I'm saying? You're forcing them to read all the small print. So I would change these headlines. These headlines should all be result driven. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I noticed is that there was only one order bump out of 93. And I like to see 10 to 20 to even 30% on the order bump. So I'm not exactly sure why, but it's the audiobook. I was thinking about it. I'm like, I'm not really sure why the audiobook is not converting here, but it's not. And I don't know if it's a copy issue or if it's just that these people don't want the audio version. They're just not listeners. So I would play around with this order bump and see if there's something else that you can offer. The other thing is I would just go ahead and spell this out, fit first responders. The other thing is fit first responders. Like, what's the tagline of the book? Because I feel maybe it's this, but I would just spell it out because I'm really sure that this is for first responders, but I'm not really sure about what else, right? Okay. So those are some of the things that I saw right there. The other thing is, if you like the $20 a month membership and you feel like people are sticking around, then this part of the order form of the funnel is not as in bad shape. I think the first page is what's in bad shape right now. That's where you're losing the money. Typically, I get nervous selling continuity on here, but if you are saying that they're sticking for $20 a month and they're sticking beyond 3-4 months, then just leave it. If they weren't, I would say, oh yes, people are giving you guys some great feedback here. If not, typically for this kind of funnel, this is an unboxing funnel, right? I tend to like to see the $7. No, the $7.95 price point, either an ebook or free plus shipping. I like to see a $47 OTO and then possibly a $97 OTO. I feel like the one-time payments are such an easier sale. The problem with you having 20 days free here is that it takes so long for you to get to break even on this funnel, right? It's like your ad costs are going to have to be so crazy low because you've got the free plus shipping book. So you've got that. And then it's going to take you 20 days to get $20. And then the order bump, we really need to up the order bump. So for me, I'm like, why not just make it a fast, easy $47 irresistible offer that you can get more money so that this breaks even faster? So that was my big thought here, because even though your conversion rate on the $20 membership is awesome, or it's decent, I wouldn't say it's awesome, it's decent right now, it's going to take you a long time to get your money back. Do you know what I mean? So try to get one-time fees. Literally keep it simple, $7, $47, $97, and then pop out. If you want to offer your membership, I honestly think a thank you webinar here, a miniature webinar that sells them into the membership later, you can do that. Or you can offer them the membership after that one-time fee right there. So that's my recommendation to you. Go work on the sales page. I want you to dig into every little teeny tiny piece that you see on Expert Secrets and .com Secrets, because it's all there for a reason. And match as much of it as you can, more specific copy, and consider a different order bump and a different OTO to get more money faster. All right. Yeah, David says the more you scale, the faster you lose money. Okay, Jonathan says, what about the percentage of people that are coming to the landing page, buying the book, but not getting to the OTO page? Yeah, well, so, I mean, here you've got 93 orders. So there's only 93 people have seen your OTO, right? Because they only see the OTO if they buy the book, right? So you've got 6 people out of 93, and 6 divided by 93 is what? I already did it. It's like 6.4%. It's okay. I love it when you get like 7 to 10% of people to buy the OTO. Believe it or not, it's harder to get people to buy the first product than it is to get the OTO. That's why I'm like 1 to 5% buy rate on the very first product is pretty normal, right? But then on those OTOs and those order bumps, that's where you see, because they don't have to put their credit card information in. They've already made a micro yes commitment. They're ready that a percentage of people are going to buy. So that's where I like to see that kind of be a little bit higher. It's not horrible, but you're also keeping in mind that you're giving it away for free for 20 days. That's why I was asking about the churn. And I don't know how you're going to be able to sustain that in ads. You know, so that was my big thing. All right. Awesome. Okay. Let's move on to Brooke. Okay, Brooke is next. Let me just close this out here. All right, so here is Brooke's funnel. She has an unboxing funnel as well. It is not a free plus shipping funnel, even though it appears like one. It's actually just a straight up $7 ebook. Yeah, Jonathan. So do a bump, and then you can do 1 or 2 OTOs. Obviously, 2 OTOs will increase the value of your cart, but just make sure it makes sense, because people start to get pissed off on OTO 2 and beyond. All right, so here is her funnel right here. Her page is pretty small, pretty short, and it always surprises me, because when you look at the Expert Secrets book, right, like look how long it is. It's for a free book. This page goes on for days. So I was actually kind of thinking, this is a pretty short sales page. I wonder what the conversion rates are. So let's go ahead, take a look at her rates. And then this is her OTO right here. And she is offering a $297 membership on the upsell. You're welcome, John. Probably want to watch this one too, because it's a similar type funnel. All right, so let's go to Brooke's numbers here. Take a drink. All right, so she has the ebook for $7, no free plus shipping. So that is more profit for her. So just keep that in mind when you think about your funnel. The audiobook upsell for $37, and then the membership for $297 a month. She said 33,000 views on the sales page. Congratulations. That was awesome. She's had 4,500 people opt into step 1, right? So let's just do a little math here. 4,500 divided by 33,000. She's got about 13% of people opting in, and then 1,461 books. So it's about a 4.42% buy rate. So that's more like that's getting there. That's getting there. That's the 1 to 5%, right? Okay, Brooke. Oh, Brooke, you're here. Awesome. Okay, she said we split test it against a longer page. We're surprised the shorter one did better. Sometimes less is more. I will say you're very, very good on camera. You've got a very professional, you're very clear, you're very, you're engaging to watch. And so I think your video is doing the bulk of your selling for sure. I don't know that it's your copy. I think it's you. So anyway, she had 220 audio. And so this is so funny, because in Jonathan's funnel, we're not seeing a lot of audio order bumps, but we're seeing about 220, which is about a 15% order bump, which is decent. Maybe tweaking the copy could push that up a little bit more. 15% isn't bad, but I'm just like, I'm greedy about order bumps, because I realize that it's the easiest money of all the money is the order bump money. I did wonder about the price of the order bump, and if you could get more money by dropping the price. So that was just a thought. But we'll get to that in a second. And then she had 8 people buy the membership, and she had a 0.88% buy rate, which is pretty low. So this is where the bulk of my issue is in your OTO. So based on what you showed me, based on what you told me, I think that we need to rejig this offer a little bit. If we just do the math, I wonder what would happen if you dropped your order bump to 27 instead of 37. Because right now you had 220 people take the $37 order bump, right? So that's $8,000-ish, right? And it's a 15% order bump. But what if you could get that order bump close to 30%, right? Close. Because that's not unusual for an order bump if you have a really good order bump. If you could do that and drop it to $27 and nearly double your order bumps, and you do 27 and you did 400, right? You're already at 10.8. So I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that what would happen if you drop the order bump? Would you see an increase in conversions? I don't know. So that's what I put here about test the 27 versus a 37 to see. I think that your membership, $297 a month, is not the right. It's not the right place for it. Your $297 a month membership. Now, keep in mind, when people hear memberships, they think in like year-long sprints. So like they're immediately in their head doing the math, and they're like, "Why, it's a $3,500 membership program," right? The average person stays in a membership about 3 months. So even at 3 months, you're selling almost $1,000 product, right? And if we go back to the beginning about what I talked about the unboxing versus the presentation, anything over 197 or maybe 297 really needs to be presentation style. And even though you're on video, I just am not sure that you have enough time to break those false beliefs in that sale to really get them into the membership. You did a great job. I watched your video. It was really good. But it's, the numbers don't lie. She also told me that her audience really doesn't have a lot of tolerance for lots of OTOs. My recommendation is that you offer, and I should actually put here, a $47 to $97 OTO. What can you create in your offer with the ebook and the audiobook? What can you put here for an easy, no-brainer, one-time $47 to $97 product that you can put there? Just do one. You don't need to have a second one. And then you're going to get to the order confirmation page. I think you should do a thank you page webinar. I think you should download Dean Holland's slides if you haven't yet. He talks a lot about how psychologically when somebody orders something and the thank you page webinar is right there and they're like, "Thank you so much for buying. I'm so excited." But guess what? Your training is actually starting right now. Psychologically, because they just paid for something, they're more apt to sit and watch that webinar because they're like, "Wait, is this part of what I just bought?" Do you know what I'm saying? So psychologically, they feel that. So they're going to sit tight and they're going to watch. And now you have a qualified buyer who's interested in the topic, who's more apt to watch because they're not totally sure if this is part of what they bought or not. And now they're going to pay attention. And now you're like, your training starts now. So they have this expectation of being in kind of a learning state. So I say you do a thank you page webinar here, and then you offer the membership program. But I think $297 a month is killing you right now. So let's just look at it as a program. Let's go back to what I was talking about, the programs. Can you make it a 4-month program, right? This is a 4-month program. It's $997. It's a no-brainer. Or you can do a 4-pay of $297. So it's still like being in the membership for 4 months for $297, right? Or you're giving them a deal if they did $97. So you create a webinar on the back end of this funnel. You probably are going to liquidate. You've got lots of people buying this. Get that order bump up a little bit, add a no-brainer product here, and then sell them on the membership here. But sell it as a 4-month program. It is so much easier. Guys, I have sold so many programs for like $3,000 and $12,000 that are easier to sell than a $49 a month membership. I don't know what it is about memberships, but they're hard as heck to sell. So offer the 4-pay plan for $297. That means a total of $1,188, or give them a deal for $997. And that's what I would do here. In terms of your actual funnel to get the conversions up here, again, I would tell you the same thing that I told Jonathan. If you're telling me that you've already tested the copy and the copy is working really well, I would just add some of those little things to order forms, right? Get it free now. Like add a little credit card payment, add a little lock, that kind of stuff. Make sure that all the headlines are results driven so that when they scan the page, they can quickly understand what it is they're buying. Your buy rate is pretty good here, so I'm not apt to like change too much of it. Make that a little smaller, just like squish it up and make sure, and I didn't check your mobile here. You'll notice on the .com Secrets book, when you go to mobile, he actually eliminates a lot of the text on mobile, and it's just like video in order form. So that's something to think about. But your book page is in pretty good shape. I'm not going to lie. So that was my advice to you. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, everyone's loving the thank you page webinars. Yeah, they're pretty sweet, for sure. Just so you know, if you do a thank you page webinar, Brooke, you still should build an auto webinar funnel, right? And this all goes back to the training I did here, right? Your core offer is, let's say it's your 4-month program, and that's it's $9.97. You should build a webinar for it. You should build a webinar. You should run ads straight to that to make some money on it, right? But your front end offer can be your book funnel, and you can get the thank you page webinar stuck right on the order confirmation form to increase sales. The other thing you can do is, once they graduate from the 4-month program, maybe you can have a lower cost continuity. By then they love you, they adore you, they're ready to stick with you. So maybe you can have a low cost continuity for a year after that 4-month program. I just think it'll be so much easier to sell. Okay. She's asking, do you think I should test the cost of the book? I think that your 4.2% buy rate is pretty good. So I don't really think, I don't know how you would go lower than $7. I feel like if you go lower than $7, people are going to think it's not worth it. $7 seems to be the sweet spot. I mean, I've seen people do higher priced, $15, $17. You could try. I don't know how it will affect your conversion rate, but if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, I think the broken part is here in the middle, rather than the front end. But that was just my gut instinct based on the numbers that I saw. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to move on. And the last funnel audible, and then I'm going to get to everybody's questions, is Lee. And let me show you Lee's funnel here. Okay. So Lee. Okay, so here is a webinar funnel. So it's a free webinar. He's basically teaching sales and marketing to roofing contractors. And so when you opt in, you guys are going to see me opting into your funnels over the next year. You opt in, and webinar starts in 36 seconds. I didn't actually, okay, so the problem is I can't pause this. So there's the webinar. And what happens is, sorry, hold on. What happens in the webinar, by the way, guys, that's one thing that's hard about the funnel audibles is, like, I can't pause it and show you the page at the same time when you have the block pause on. He adds all this stuff underneath the watch page, right? All this stuff. Now, what happens is when you see all that stuff, then he basically says, apply now. And so you get to this page right here. Or no, you go to a type form. You go to a type form, you fill out this type form, and then you go here. And then here is the actual, what we would call the order form here, the buy now. And it's either a $2,500, $9,900, $10,000, or $1,000. Okay, so that's kind of the general gist of the funnel. So let me give you the stats. All right, so registration page right now is converting at 13%. So I like to see a webinar registration page at a very minimum of 20%, bare minimum. I like 30 and higher, but 20 is like my baseline. And so at 13%, I already know, but I didn't need to look at the stats to know that your webinar registration page needs some work. The countdown page has got 326 people on the countdown page, and then 302 get to the watch page. So that means most people are sticking around to watch. Okay, so that's good. Show up rate is good. And he's got a 3% buy rate, 3.3% buy rate. And I forgot to write down actually how many people bought, but I think it was, let's see, he had 10 purchases. All right, so the thing about his funnel that was confusing to me is I feel like it's more confusing than it needs to be. Number one. Number two, if we go back to my training today where we talk about the presentation style, I think that offers higher than $19.97 need to be on the phone. So I'm actually kind of surprised that people are buying your $2,500 product without talking to you on the phone. What that tells me is that your webinar is doing a decent job of breaking those beliefs so they're ready to get involved with you. Okay, so that's kind of the That's the instinct that I'm coming away with regards to yours. I did not watch your whole webinar. I'm sorry. However, I will tell you that you had a story about closing Grant Cardone. The thing is, that's a really cool story to me because I'm like, well, if you can close Grant Cardone, then you clearly have sales and marketing skills. So how can we use that as a hook, right, to your roofing contractors? Because most roofing contractors are not going to know Grant Cardone. Maybe some of them will, but most of them won't. So I was trying to think of like some cool copywriting that we can put on the registration page that can really hook into the story, because no offense, your registration page is really, really boring. But it's like how I closed one of the greatest salesmen in the world with, blah, 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 something like that. I was like, there's your hook. And you announced it. I watched like 10 minutes of your webinar and you announced it pretty soon in. And I'm like, there is a story. There's a story there that can really capture, because roofing contractors, even if they don't know Grant Cardone, they're going to understand how hard it is to close the greatest salesman in the world, because he knows every close there is, right? So that's really cool. Oh, sorry if you can hear my kids screaming in the background. All right. I think you've overcomplicated your funnel tremendously, and I think we need to simplify it. You have your webinar registration page. We need to work on that, so I'll go over to look at that. Countdown page looks good. Watch page. All the information that appears on the watch page, I don't know if that's hurting things, because I don't know how you've got it timed, but there was just like a lot of information. And what I want to do is I just want to get started, right? Because if I'm watching that webinar and I'm listening to you and you're breaking those beliefs, I'm just like, I'm ready to go. So I'm going to hit that button. I'm going to go to the application. What would be really cool is I understand why you use Typeform, but it would be really nice to have the application built right into the funnel so it carries the consistent theming, because when you pull them into Typeform, it's like everything disappears. So I would create a ClickFunnels page. The other reason why is because you can pixel it, right? You can't pixel an application, like a Typeform application, but if you take that Typeform that you have, you embed it on a ClickFunnels page, now you can put a pixel on it. Now you can actually track, as you're doing ads, who's actually landing on that application page, right? Once the application is submitted, I would create an instruction that says, go to schedule your call. I'm impressed that you're getting people to buy $2,500, but I wonder how many people you're losing. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what would happen if you got everybody on the call. So you go right to a scheduler, you have them schedule a call, or you put a phone number right there so that they can call you, and then you sell them. And they only know about the $2,500 one if they don't purchase the 10,000. The other thing is, I fast forwarded your webinar and saw that you were talking about price. Typically, when you do a stack in a webinar and you're going to a sales call, you don't actually want to say the price on the sales call. What I recommend you do is, and for those of you who follow the perfect webinar, right? Russell does the stack, right? It's this and the value, blah, 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 blah. And then you get to the end and it's like, total value, $500 million and 35 cents, right? And then he goes into this 3-slide thing that he does. And he goes, so if all this program did was get you more clients, more customers, whatever, would a one-time payment of $500 million and 35 cents be worth it? And people are like, yeah, that would be worth it. And then he says, and if this also did blah, 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 would a one-time payment of blah, 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 yes. And you're like, yes, it would be. He does that 3 times. After that, in a typical buy now situation, he nails you with the price, and then you're ready to buy. In a situation where you are asking people to get on the phone with you, you immediately need to turn on the exclusivity. Be like, listen, guys, now I could have put a buy now button here under the webinar and just sold a DIY course and not talk to any of you. But you know what? Like, I actually wanted to create a course. I wanted to create a program where I know I can get you results. In order to do that, I needed to create more touch point, higher value. So you know what? Number 1, I got to make sure that I like you and I want to work with you. Number 2, I got to make sure your business is ready for me. And number 3, I got to make sure there's spots open. So this is a very, very limited number of spots. It's absolutely an investment, and you don't actually say the price. You transition into this mode of like, now they're all of a sudden feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to apply. Like, I hope I get a spot. I hope I'm ready. I hope I'm good enough, right? When people apply to like Russell's Funnel Hackathon or Russell's Inner Circle, like they're anxious. They're hoping that they qualify. And so that's the angle you want here. You don't want to announce the price. You want to send them to an application, send them to a scheduler, get them on the phone. And then your sales team is going to try to sell them on the $10,000 one. That's the one they're going to focus on. And only if they can't, like, only if you know that there's just no way that they're going to do 10,000, then you can be like, all right, well, we have a down, like, you don't say we have a downsell. Well, we do have this product that, you know, will get you there. It's not going to get you quite as fast as the Elite, but and then all of a sudden 2,500 is a no-brainer. I think you're going to close a lot more people if you simplify. So Joel, you do leave them with the value. Yeah, you say to them, obviously, I'm not going to charge you $500 million, right? Obviously, but it is an investment. But you know what? I'm putting myself on the line to work with you. So I want to make sure you're the right fit for me. And that's how you pre-qualify them. Like right there, they start to feel like, ooh, I want to work. I want to work with them, you know? Okay. So I hope that explains it. I feel like bring the application into a ClickFunnels page so you can pixel it. Put a phone number there. Put a scheduler right there. Make sure there's not too many spots available so it looks like you're really full, you're really busy. Stop talking about the price on the webinar. Add the Grant Cardone hook and story. Simplify this funnel a bunch. And then the last thing I want to say here is, wait, not that one. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, shoot. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Here it is. Okay. Right here. This page, is the most boring part about you, which you're not boring at all. So I just want you to know you're not doing yourself any justice here. How I, closed the blah, blah, blah. I want you to use the hook and the story. I also want you to get rid of the technobabble. The secrets of how to increase your average transaction value by building new age sales systems and funnels that work. That's so much technobabble. Okay. All you want to do is you want to focus on the result that they want, that big domino that they really, really care about, right? Which is more contracts, more money. Okay. So I would go funnel hacking webinar funnels with 3 secrets. And try to add some curiosity here. You can also shrink this up. You don't need all this. The other thing is, I don't know if you do any bot work, but you can also get them to register in Messenger. That sometimes can help get them to opt in if they're not willing to give their email address. I didn't even check this on mobile, but I should. Let's aim to get this up to 25, 30%, right? So that it's in better shape. It's not terrible. Yeah. But there's just way, way, way too much technobabble, no story. All right, awesome. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition to some questions and answers. So I hope that was helpful. There were a few of you who applied for Funnel Audible, but because you hadn't had at least 1,000 visitors or at least $1,000 spent, it becomes very difficult for me to analyze your funnel. So that's why I didn't feature you today. So just keep that in mind for the future. But I hope for those of you who didn't get audibled today that you learned a bunch about your funnels. And now what I'm going to do is transition into some Q&A. All right. So these questions are kind of all over the map here. So many different questions. All right. So this is from... let me just go to this question. Hold on. All right. All right. Cassandra had a really quick question. She says, when you go live on Zoom, do you allow people's faces to show that are on? So no, when you do a Zoom webinar, you actually have to buy the webinar add-on. So when you buy Zoom, it's just a meeting account. You get a max of 50 people. And that's when you create meetings, everybody pops on and you see all their faces. In order to do Zoom, you have to do, you have to buy the webinar add-on, and then their faces don't show unless you were to make them a panelist. Okay, Matt, you had a question about sales tax for his funnel. So I actually did not know the answer to this question, so I want to give credit where credit is due. I talked to Jamie Smith. He is our resident like ninjafy the funnels guy. He didn't have a great answer either. He basically said that ClickFunnels right now is not in a position to offer all different types of sales tax depending on state. So the best thing to do is to bulk up the price a little bit to handle the sales tax. You might be able to offer one particular sales tax as an extra product, right? It's just going to appear as like an extra product. But then they have to select it. And so overall, I think your best bet is to just wrap tax, right? So it's like $21.98. You know, that's purchase and includes, you know, tax. I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but I just want to make sure I give you an answer about that. Okay. No, so for those of you who want to funnel Audible, it's at least 1,000 visitors on step one is really going to help me. Or $1,000, at least $1,000 in ads spent. Yeah. Okay. So let me just need to hide these so that I make sure that I get through all of them. Okay. Good and good. Okay. So Steve asked, how do I create a webinar in ClickFunnels? Is there a detailed video tutorial? So to create a webinar in ClickFunnels, you want to, the live webinar actually happens a couple ways. You can do Zoom, which is what I recommend. You can just go live on Facebook and share your screen. That's another option. You can also use YouTube Live. Now, if you use YouTube Live, you go over to YouTube. It's totally free. You set up the event, and then you take the embed code, and you can embed it in a ClickFunnels page. And so when you actually do the webinar, you send the link out to the ClickFunnels page, and then people watch the live stream like through the ClickFunnels page. So that's the way I did it when I didn't have a lot of money. I just used YouTube Live. Now you can use Facebook, but I like the Zoom webinar for live webinars. For automated webinars, you don't need a webinar software. You just record your webinar on ScreenFlow, QuickTime, Camtasia, some sort of program, and you upload it to Vimeo, YouTube, Wistia, whatever program you want, and you embed it in ClickFunnels, and that's it. You don't need. So I don't own anything other than my Zoom webinar, and I use it for lots of reasons besides just webinars. So you can get away with YouTube Live for free, for sure. You can share your screen now on Facebook Live. You can't do both, so you have to choose. It's like you either go talking head or you go screen, but you can't do both with just the out of the box Facebook Live. But there's lots of third-party programs. Okay. All right, so Candace asked, she said, is there an example of a redemption funnel I could see? I want to build one for my retail shop, but there doesn't appear to be in any one of the templates. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what a redemption funnel is, it's really just an unboxing funnel, like I showed you. Free plus shipping, order bump, OTO1, OTO2, right? It's just that funnel. The only difference is that the way they get there. So in a redemption funnel, let's say we use Groupon, right? You have a kit on Groupon like Dave did, a kombucha tea kit. You go to Groupon, it says $35 for the tea kit, shipping not included. They pay their $35 in Groupon. You don't really make money on that because you know you're not going to. On their receipt, it says, go here to redeem and tell me your shipping for your kit. So that's where the magic happens in a redemption funnel. All you have to do is create an opt-in page so that when they click on that link, it says, welcome Groupon customer, please put in your code and your email to continue. It's just a simple, basic squeeze page with the branding of the third-party website that you were using and your branding put together, right? And then as soon as they opt in, they go to the free plus shipping checkout page. And that's where it's like, hey, here's your product that you just bought, just pay the shipping, and then they go into the funnel. And so it's really just a free plus shipping offer, and you're gonna add one extra step, which is that opt-in on the front. And that was Candace's question. All right. All right, Julie's question. She says, My question is this: now that I've realized that my front end funnel works, I was breaking even and I thought it wasn't working well. I know, isn't that funny what happens when your expectations get like, could I possibly add a back end funnel for my second OTO? My first OTO is at 22%, which is awesome. My second is at 0%. So I was going to do a webinar registration instead. Have you ever tried this? So I wouldn't add a webinar registration in a funnel. I would do it on the order confirmation page. I would either do it as a thank you page webinar, or I would invite them to a training that's just about to start. For sure. And then she says, my new sexy offer is going to be $9.97. It's going to be sold on a live webinar. Is it okay to not have a sales page? Yes, absolutely. So with a live webinar, you don't have to have a sales page. You can go right to an order form. Now, I like to build a sales page because in the long run, there are lots of people who ask and they don't want to go watch the webinar again. So I have a sales page I can send them to. So once the market has validated it, absolutely, I would build a sales page, but for now you don't need to. Okay. Gus is asking about the redemption funnel. Does Dave have a course for the redemption funnel for sale? I know he's building one. I don't know if it's exactly ready yet, but I know he's building one. All right, Dave, I need to copy your question because I'm going to lose it. I'll just copy it. 1 second. And I'll add it in a minute. Cool. Okay, let me go back to other questions. Okay. All right, so Julie had one more question. She said, my membership is the only thing keeping me floating right now. I'm not 100% invested. I want to get the numbers up so that I can focus on my 2 Comma Club offer. What kind of funnel would you suggest I do to increase my numbers? Okay, so membership funnels, not the easiest thing in the world, not going to lie. I think memberships are kind of expensive. In terms of like, they're expensive to run, they're expensive in time, in fulfillment, they're expensive in getting people to say yes. However, there's some cool things that you can do. Number one, I love the $1 trial. I've been doing the $1 trial on my membership and getting memberships every single day. And I literally lead with a free offer, and then it's a $1 trial for 2 weeks. I started with 7 days and I upped it to 2 weeks because I wanted them to immerse themselves more in the membership so that I could get them like more indoctrinated. So for me, a 2-week trial is working best. Your onboarding sequence and pipeline has to be super slick. So I like offer them a t-shirt and I do all this kind of stuff on the front end to really like get them in. The thing is, if you're not 100% invested, your customers are going to know. So you have to try to change your mindset to try to think, all right, this, instead of just thinking like, oh, I want to work on my other offers, so like, let me feed this some hay over here. Really try to fall back in love with your membership because it will change how you treat it. The other thing is Russell did a podcast on how to fill your membership fast. Memberships do well when you close the cart. He closed the cart on Funnel U and got an insane amount of people to join. So closing and opening the cart works. He also did a podcast. If you go to Marketing Secrets and you go look through the podcast, you can see he had a cool trick on how to get people into your membership. But it does require offering time-sensitive training that doesn't happen at any other time to push people in and get them to take action. That's the biggest problem. That and then keeping people. Joel is asking, are you using Braintree for the $1 trial? No. So we're using, this is like a little Stripe trick. I can find the help article, but it's basically we use multiple products in the background. So it's $1 and then there's a $0 for 14 days and then it kicks in at the $49 a month. That's how we do it. All right. Okay, next question. Okay, this is also related to webinar. Danny says, what's the best strategy for an auto webinar page? Should I put the sales page directly on the webinar page? Should I have it show up after a certain amount of time, be visible for the entire webinar? Should I redirect them to a sales page after the webinar? What have you found works best? Okay, so yes. So what I found works best is hiding the button until the time at which the pitch happens. And then off of the webinar, sending them directly to an order form. And then what I do is in my replay sequence, I actually send them back to the replay page, but the replay page has the button there all the time. instead of the live version, which doesn't, or the automated version, which doesn't, so that the button is there. And then if they don't buy in the replay sequence, I do mention it again. And in that point, like when I'm still nurturing them, I send them back to the sales page. Now you can try it. You could just split test. I mean, it doesn't hurt to split test, but I typically send people to the replay room so that they can watch the webinar if they haven't, and then the button is right there. Oh, David, I was answering her question about don't add a registration inside a funnel, because she was asking about making her OTO2 like a webinar registration. And Zoom does not, so Zoom does not have a way to do the button. So what you want to do is you want to create an easy link that you can put on your slides. Don't do what I did. My last webinar, my link was not easy. So make a nice, easy link, and then you can also lay it down in the chat as well. All right, so people, Casey was asking, tech gear question. Can you touch on what's your favorite webcam, mic, light, tech for videos? Okay, so I'm so boring, and I'm not like, I'm definitely, I would call myself, it's like old habits die hard. I have a Logitech webcam. I'm a bootstrapper. Like you can see, I'm not using anything fancy. I'm using my iPhone earbuds right now, and they're not even wireless. I use Logitech. I do have this Logitech mic, which I use when I do podcast interviews because the sound is a lot better. And I also use it for when I record videos for trainings. So I definitely use that. And I just like, this is all natural light that you're seeing. So my office has 3 windows. If not, you should have seen some of my old get-ups, you know, like strategically placed lamps and stuff. I'm sure there's all kinds of like those diva rings and stuff like that, but I don't need them because I have a really nicely lit office. I know this is such a boring answer. Okay, well, let's see. Next question here. Okay, hold on, let me go down. Oh, Steve says, do you recommend doing a stack on an order form page? Because I've had over 100 leads in the last week, but only 5 people paid through my order form. Maybe if I show more value by using a stack, then more people will pay online. What do you think? I think that if people aren't buying, there's something either wrong with your offer or wrong with their sales offer prior to getting to the order form page. Typically, at the point of the order form page, like they kind of already know what they're going to do. The things that are going to turn people off on an order form are things like not seeing the secure icons, not being reminded of the deal. Like there's things like that, but like at the point of the order form, yes, of course the stack on the order form is a good idea, like to remind them what they're getting, but chances are there's probably something wrong a few steps back. So add the stack, add some security icons, make sure it's mobile optimized, you know, don't waste space, all that kind of stuff on the actual order form itself. Make sure it's easy to navigate. But I think it's probably something in the back end. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm just looking at my questions here. Okay, Tina says, I'd like your thoughts about using wish list member, which is a WordPress plugin, as a place to place your content. Okay, and then she's asking about Teachable. This is my soapbox about content. If you've got a huge academy, right, and you've got like hundreds of hours of content, and you've got quizzes and tests and all these important things that you want to do, something like a Kajabi, a Teachable, a Thinkific, even a wishlist member, something like that might be the best place to fulfill your content if you've got some high-end, complicated academic kind of structure you want. For most people, the ClickFunnels members area is completely and 1000% your best deal, because you don't have to worry about all the technology that happens with taking payment in ClickFunnels and then fulfilling the order in a third-party program. And the reason why is, like, when I did this, I had so much trouble because I was like, at first I had Teachable, and then I was like, well, I'll just take payment in Teachable. And then I had a horrible time with like failed payments, and I had problems with people going into their Teachable account and updating their credit card because I couldn't control it and all this other stuff. And then I wanted to launch an affiliate program, which means I had to take payment in ClickFunnels. So anyway, I did it all wrong. And so what I'm saying is, unless you have a good reason that you need some super complicated like membership platform, ClickFunnels can do it. Like ClickFunnels will keep your life so much easier. If you're really academic, yeah, then I would go to Teachable or Kajabi, because then you can use a Zap. And I think Kajabi has a direct integration where it'll like, when you pay, it'll enroll them in that product in Kajabi, because there's a more direct integration than Teachable. Let's see. Someone's asking about Apple Pay on the order form. Yeah, so I don't know if that's an MD feature or if that's just a basic feature. I don't know. So I have to ask. Okay, I'm just looking here at the questions related to what I'm talking about here. Will the CF membership be getting a facelift? Yes, of course. It's always on the plate. It's just a matter of order of priority and how many developers they have at any one time. So yeah, for sure. It's definitely on the list. It's just like, you know, that thing called time. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm just looking here for there were some questions that I couldn't answer. I'm just going to say. Okay, Brett's question. Hey, Julie, I'd love if you could cross further into your recent post about being the best to hardest markets to start in. I ask because, as Russell Brunson said, this 2 Comma Club coaching may radically change the course we are on. I'm finding this is what I'm internally fighting with. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I basically put a post out for those of you, and I was talking to the people who are kind of like up against the wall. They need to make money fast. They don't know how to like get that money rolling. And what I said is, in my experience, the easiest thing to sell online when you first enter the online game is a done for you service. It's a tangible asset. Here's a website. Here's a Facebook ad. Here's a sales funnel, right? It's tangible. You are getting paid for the asset that you're delivering. You're also getting paid for the time that you're putting in. So I find that's the easiest, right? Then next, after that, comes a one-on-one scenario, one-on-one coaching, for example. I think it's easier to sell to one person than it is to sell to a group, which is easier to sell to the masses, just because you can customize it so like beautifully for that person. So then the next thing in line would be one-on-one consulting or coaching. Then the next thing would be group coaching, selling a live program, high touch point program to a small group. Then a course, and that's where you start to sell to the masses, right? And that takes a little bit more, you need a bigger following, you need more people, you need to really understand your market, right? Then after courses comes membership sites. I think membership sites are harder to sell than courses, in my experience. And then after that, live events, I think are some of the hardest things to sell. So if you don't have a product yet, or you're not sure, or you just need money fast, I would say the done for you services, digital marketing, sales funnels, ads, copy, social media, those kinds of services can get you money more quickly. And that's why I gave away Proposal Secrets, because I know that feeling of being up against the wall. And so that was my recommendation. Once you have an idea for a course, right? You have an idea for a course. If you've never sold a course before, I would sell it as a small group live class, which is why I talked about the idea of pre-selling and doing a live webinar. And then that way, once you have the content all built out, then you can turn it into a course and put it in whatever kind of funnel you want. Okay, let me just see. Okay, so Steve is asking, how do you handle signups and refunds in the ClickFunnels members area? So a couple things about that. Once you start rocking and rolling, first of all, when you first do anything, you do it manually until it gets too hard. And then you're like, ooh, I have so many people, I need to automate this, right? And that's pretty normal. We use a program called Stunning, STUNNING.co. And that helps with credit card updates, failed payments, things like that. When it comes to refunds, we just refund people and remove them manually. We have a VA do it. So when they request a refund, we put it in, boom, take them out, end of story. We keep a membership spreadsheet to track people's memberships. And I'm not really sure how else you would do that. And then Stunning allows them to update their payment information. You know, with a program like Teachable or Kajabi, a lot of people are like, ooh, I like it. They can go in, they can update their credit card information on their own. And it's true, they can, but you know what else they can do is take your $1 trial, and 3 seconds after they join, they can go in and delete their credit card information, and then you're screwed. So I actually like that they have to email us, because it forces them to have to admit, yeah, I just bought it, and 3 minutes later, I'm asking for, you know, to not be charged, right? It's just like, it makes it a little bit more difficult to cancel, and I like that. All right, so for courses, do you think it's absolutely necessary to have a following? Well, you need to have somebody following you. Yeah, for sure. When I first started, I had very, very few people following me, and I would just really I'd look back and be like, oh, there's some people following me. Hey, do you want me to help you with MailChimp? I can do a MailChimp course. Hey, it's $15. Like, I was so organic in the way I built my business, and I didn't realize that this was a good idea, but it actually was a great idea, because then I never created anything that people didn't want. So yes, you do need a following. You don't need a huge following, but you need a following. And if you need to make if you're like back against the wall, I need to make 10 grand a month as soon as humanly possible. Like, I'm going to say done for you services and one-on-one is going to be easier to get that cash flow coming in than a DIY course. That's just my personal opinion. Of course, there's lots of people who completely break that mold. I had a student who started at zero and in 90 days made 27 grand. He did have to spend about $7,000 to $8,000 to make that 27 grand. So if you're bootstrapping, you don't have a ton of money like that, then it's harder to pull off, right? Okay, let me see here. What other questions? Hey, Lee got his new title. That's awesome. How I closed the greatest salesman of all time and scaled my contracting company from 0 to 50 million in 3 years. That's awesome. Just so you know, in 3 years, that may trigger Facebook filter. So just be careful about ads, because typically I can say how I made $1 million and Facebook will let that slide usually, because it's me. But if I say how I made $1 million in 30 days, they're not going to like that, because now I've got a time constraint on it. So just keep aware of that. All right. Eileen has a question here. And she says, hi, Julie, if the front end funnel is under, not quite breaking even, so she's saying it's not breaking even, she's had 1,000 visitors, but there's a 30% buy rate, and my core offer isn't awesome yet. I've got a membership continuity with high churn. Would you suggest I pause the front end tweaking to focus on the higher price core offer? All right, so you're saying you have a front end, it's not quite break even yet, but you're close. So tweak it so that you break even, right? Just tweak it. That seems like it shouldn't be that hard. Once it's breaking even, at least you're acquiring the leads, right? You're getting paid for, you're not having to pay anything for your leads, and then focus 1,000% on creating a core offer, and then you turn around and sell it to them. That would be what I would do. Okay. All right. A few more questions. Let's see. Get rid of that one. All right. Here's a question from Joel. My question is regards into setting up a done with you funnel building service. Okay. So that's probably where you coach and consult, but don't actually do the work. I feel like this would be a logical progression in building out a value ladder. We are a team of 3. We've been building funnels for 2 years. It's great, but scaling is challenging. We have 15 clients. With our current staffing, we can get probably up to 22 to 25, but then we'd have to grow a bigger team. I'm not opposed to doing that, but I think a done with you offer would allow us to leverage what we've learned, systems to serve more individuals at a lower price point. The question is, 1, am I thinking in the right direction? 2, what is your experience with done with funnels? And 3, is there another logical progression I'm not seeing? For example, I've seen someone offering something called Funnel Day, where it appears they work with the client for a day to map out their entire funnel. I think this is a great approach. Okay, so lots of questions here. First of all, yes, a done for you agency, you got 2 choices, right? You either build a team or you scale out with consulting and coaching and courses, things like that. Those are your choices. here's my thing. When you go from done for you to done with you, your avatar changes a bit, right? Because the done for you people are usually busy. They have more capital. They've got businesses that are running. The done with you people tend to be newer, younger, and maybe they want to learn marketing. I ran a pretty successful done with you kind of boot camp. In order to do it well, it's not really like the passivity, like you can make more money, but it's still not ultimately scalable, right? So just know that when you go into it. So like if you do a done with you program, you could probably take 5 to 10 people at a time, right? You can charge them $3,000 each. You can make 30 grand and you can work with them for 8 weeks, right? And so if you can do that 4 times over, you can make 120 grand a month. So yes, so you can do it, right? But it's not like infinitely scalable, like selling a DIY course. So just know that. I think the done with you has a really, really, it's really good. I think that if you can prove to people that them understanding marketing and really understanding the funnel process and being able to build it with you, number one, it's like having a safety net because they have you guys to tell them if it's good or it's bad or whatever, like teach you how to do it. But then they don't have to actually pay you to maintain it because now they understand it. It's a pretty good sell. I like it at the $3,000 price point, $3,000 for 8 weeks, and they work with you for 8 weeks. And then you fill it as much as you can, right? You get 10 people a session. That's 30 grand for 8 weeks. It's about 15 grand a month per cohort. Then all you have to figure out is how many cohorts can you handle. And that's how you would scale it. It's just going to be a slightly different avatar than the done for you, because the done for you people don't typically want done with you because they don't want to learn. The guys who do funnel day, I think they made their 2 Comma Club award selling their program to people who then affiliate for them for funnel day. Funnel day is a great, great option. I like the idea of doing funnel day. I do it in Proposal Secrets, but I do that so that I can close a $30,000 proposal. You see what I'm saying? So that the funnel day to me works in the value ladder of the done for you avatar versus the done with you. Okay. All right. So David has a question. He says, free consultation funnel versus product funnel. We have both funnels and clients in both programs, but each funnel can be way more dialed in. I feel like a consult funnel is a little more straightforward. We should knock that out first, then work on dialing in the product funnel, then everything in between. Yeah. I absolutely think that consultations are easier to sell than products. I just in my experience, I feel like if you can get a good consultation funnel, done for you funnel kind of dialed in, so you get that high ticket money, then it gives you a little bit more breathing room to build out the product funnels, which, you know, are harder to scale, or not, they're harder to get right? And then once you dial them in, then they're fine. So yeah. Okay, awesome. Good, Joel. I'm glad I answered your question. Cool. All right, Jesse says, question, what if you were selling a system? It's a fitness coaching program like the Mom's Gone Strong. But instead of pregnancy and post-pregnancy, there are different phases. Some people come to us at phase 1, some are on phase 2, some are on phase 3. I'm unsure how to do a live coaching model where people are not always at the same starting point. Yeah, so that's a little tricky. If you're going to do a one-on-one coaching program, it's easy. You just start them where they're at. If it's a group coaching program, then you have to make probably like, you have to determine milestones, right? Like here's milestone 1, here's milestone 2, here's milestone 3. And then you figure out when you talk to them, okay, I think you fit in milestone 2. Like you have to kind of like qualify them. And if that is too much work because your price point isn't that high, like it doesn't make sense to do a sales call for $197 product, then you really have to make it a DIY scenario, in which case you may need to create a little bit more complicated product funnel where you can kind of self-select, right? Using the survey to figure out where they're at and then drop them off on the offer version that makes the most sense for them. Yeah. I think you're going to need a survey in front of it. And then you can customize the product based on what phase they're in. Okay, question says, we're working on a funnel for physical products such as frames, cycling bags, cycling shoes. We can't find any similar products on funnels that are already there. That's the question. Which type of funnel should we start with? And we have a training plan for beginners, and we want to give it for free to download from the link after people will leave their emails. Yeah, so what you have to do is you need to go funnel hack people in the same space, but maybe they're selling something different. So funnel hack some cyclists, funnel hack, outdoor people, see what they're doing in that world, what kind of funnels they're running. The second thing with the training program is that's probably part of the offer, right? So like the idea is to create your offer. If we go back to that box that I showed you at the beginning, what is the most amazing offer that we can stick in there, right? And come up with all the products that are in that offer. And then go funnel hack some people and then figure out, should I sell this as one full offer or should I unbox it and offer one piece at a time? It's really interesting. I was talking to Jamie Cross. She does soap. And what she did was she created her offer. It was like a lotion bar, a face mask, a couple other things like a serum. And she tried selling it as a bundle for whatever it was, $197, and nobody bought it. And so she did it with a perfect webinar. She did a 5-minute perfect webinar. She did the perfect webinar in 5 minutes, didn't really sell it. So then she's like, you know what? I'm going to unbox it and I'm going to offer the sexiest thing in front, right? She knew the lotion bar was the sexiest thing. She did a 5-minute perfect webinar to sell just the lotion bar. And then people bought in the funnel. They ended up buying the whole bundle, but they just bought it in pieces. And she just passed the 2 Comma Club. So some of this is testing and just seeing like how the audience responds. My guess is an unboxing funnel is going to work better for you and that the training program is part of that offer. You just got to figure out where it goes in the funnel. All right, so a few more questions and I'm going to pop off. Here's a question from Joseph. Says, I'm struggling with how best to structure my funnels. I have a lot of funnels created for training programs. I do high ticket coaching. I have a mastermind. I have a funnel created for webinars, sales pages, third funnel for members areas. I have 3 different programs. Should they all be consolidated into one funnel? Am I forced to use the same domain for each aspect of the funnel? The answer is no. You can use as many domains as you want. You'll notice that every offer has a different domain for Russell. I also have an event funnel. Okay, the nature of my business. Okay, so what I'm getting from your question is you have a lot of funnels and you want to streamline. So if I were to go back to, I'm going to share my screen again here. If I were to go back to here right at the beginning, now don't just ignore this. This is Russell's price point, but I would look at what your core offer is, what your high-end offer is, and what your front-end offer is. Your core offer is going to be some program that's going to, be your bread and butter, your everyday bread and butter, right? Your back end might be a coaching program. It might be a mastermind. It might be an event. Maybe you have a couple back end offers, right? Like technically Russell has Funnel Hacking Live as a back end. He has Inner Circle as a back end, but those are sort of like less important. 2 Comma Club X is really his core back end, right? So you figure out what that is, and then you figure out a front end, and you just work on selling the core one for starters. My guess is if you're doing high ticket coaching, you're going to do either a webinar funnel or you're going to do an application funnel. Dial that one in. Go to Secrets Masterclass, make sure that offer is really correct, get that funnel dialed in, and then worry about everything else. I know we feel like, oh, well, my business is complicated. My business needs a lot of funnels, but I think it's oftentimes just a combination of like testing, and it's also like a little bit of squirrel syndrome. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, let's try this. Oh, let's try this. Let's try this, So, is this Jordan? Video editing service that does digital marketing. How do you recommend I scale this? So I don't know if you've done Proposal Secrets, but Proposal Secrets helps qualify your buyers by charging them about $1,000 for a strategy session and then upselling them to the high ticket. And then it's really just scaling through teams, right? Like if you're going to scale an agency to multi-millions, it's got to be teams based. So you qualify buyers, you create that strategy session. You're going to eliminate a lot of tire kickers with the $1,000 to $2,000 intensive, and then sell them that high ticket. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yes, Tracy, I will go ahead and give you the slides for sure. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So some of the other questions, some of you asked a couple questions about the Ask campaign. I feel like that's probably best for Steven. So if you had a question about the Ask campaign, I would save that for Friday. I think he's going to be a better fit for that. There were some questions about ClickBank. I've never used ClickBank, so I'm not going to be able to answer that for you. Someone asked about a website design. Just build a website in ClickFunnels. That's just going to be my response. I'm sure there are digital marketing agencies and web designers right here in this group that you could hit up. So I didn't really answer that question as well. Yeah, so I think that's it. There was a question about hiring VAs. I think from my experience, I have a couple resources that I put in Module 2 of Funnel Builder Secrets if you want to hire particular people, so you can go check that out in Module 2 of Funnel Builder Secrets. I think Alex Sharfin's going to bring a lot to this conversation, so I'm certainly not the expert on it. I will tell you that I have tremendous luck paying people really, really well and getting them invested in my mission. I don't look for the cheapest help. I look for the personalities of the people who are going to be awesome for my team, and then I pay them enough to make it matter. I know there's all different kinds of theories on that. That's the theory that works for me. And knowing Alex, I'm probably pretty sure he's going to say something similar. But it depends on if you're trying to get someone just for like menial tasks and it's okay to pay them $10 an hour. They don't really matter versus people who really matter. So funny. People are like, oh, I got someone for $10 an hour for customer support. I'm like, what are you talking about? Customer support's the most important job in the world. Like, those people have got to have their A game. They have to have good English. They have to have good skills. Like, so I see things differently. So that's my opinion on that. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so Rob, you say I'm trying to start out. I'm having a rough time creating my book funnel. I've been trying to hack my peers, but I can't get things to work. Funnel Builder Secrets will teach you how to build a book funnel step by step. When you say you're trying to start out, sometimes like we start out with the hardest funnel, right? And a book funnel is probably one of the most complicated funnels because number one, you've got the fulfillment, right? You got fulfillment. It's got slimmer margins, right? You got lots of moving pieces and parts. And I say, hey, start with the webinar funnel, start with the application funnel. Is there something higher price that can get you money faster, that can get you that win faster than a book funnel? That's just my opinion. But if you really, really want to do a book funnel, you can go ahead and in Funnel Builder Secrets, I walk through the free plus shipping or the standard SLO funnel, and you can build that. But the idea is first you need an offer, right? You can't just sell a book. You got to sell a whole offer. So Secrets Masterclass will help you come up with that. Awesome. All right, I think I got as much of it as I possibly can. My voice is running low. So I'm going to sign off for today. Next week, we'll do the same thing. We'll do some funnel audibles. If you guys have them, remember at least $1,000 or 1,000 people on the webinar, and I will give you the slides and the recording. We'll do Q&A hour just like we did. I'll put a post. And Thursday, you get to work with John, and then Friday with Steven. So awesome. All right, guys, have a great, great week, and I will talk to you next week.